Firefighters face every fire with a buried concern for their own safety. On August 30th, 1993, a call came into 911 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and for one group of firefighters, the threat of death took on a very real dimension that could no longer be ignored. 10:03 p.m.
Tulsa Fire Department. You probably already know, but we can see that a house is burning behind our house.
Okay, and it's a house fire?
Yes.
Do you know if anyone is inside?
No, because it's, it's like a street or two behind us. We can see the flames.
Okay, we're on the way.
Thank you.
It's engine 32, engine 29.
Engine 28, engine 23, engine 6, ladder 29, ladder 28, and district 5. Fire, next order, 704, Avenue, map page 196.
After 13 years with the Tulsa Fire Department, Tom Nicholas was a captain. Among the 3 men under his command that night was 29-year-old Darrell Eccles.
Darrell!
All of us guys are close, but I've always looked up to Tom, being the aggressive firefighter that he is. About a third of the house was on fire, all over the garage, and we noticed there was a window over the garage. But we didn't know if there was people there or not, so we felt it very important to get up into the attic to get into the bedroom we thought was there.
All right, let's get in here and lay it out!
Ronnie had the hose line, and Tom and I were backing him up. There's fire everywhere.
Check the house on either side for exposure.
Like Darrell, Ron Wilson had only been a firefighter for 3 years.
Ronnie, go get the ladder, all right?
Normal procedure is to go in and do an interior attack. And Captain Nicholas, it's his call to decide whether it's too dangerous. Darrell went up the ladder first, Captain Nicholas followed him, and then I went up.
When we got up there, we realized it wasn't a bedroom, it was an attic.
Hey, keep an eye on it.
Some people fight it from the outside with foam, and we go inside, try to push the fire out.
Go ahead and pull the freaking act off and head to the front door. Need more pressure? Okay, watch the sound. It's coming.
We've advanced probably 20 or 30 feet into the attic of the house. Tom grabbed me on the shoulder. His feet were on fire. The fire was starting to come to the floor.
Get a little hot back here. Get a little hot.
We both enjoyed fighting fire quite a bit. We high-fived, started having a good time.
All right, get in. There it is. It's going across. We're getting there. Just right there.
There's someone grabbed me on the shoulder again. I thought it was Tom. And I was going, why is Tom pointing at this hole in the floor? So I shot water down in there, thinking that's what he wanted me to do. Instantly, he grabbed me by the shoulder again, turned me around. At that time, I noticed it was a black helmet instead of a red helmet. The captain wears a red helmet in the Tulsa Fire Department. Then I realized what happened. Tom had fell down through the hole.
There were 3 rooms that he could have fallen in from where he was located in the attic.
I'm out of here. I gotta leave this mess.
Our bells started ringing and we were running out of oxygen at that time.
Tom!
We were breathing poisonous gases, a lot of heat. We knew that since we had ran out of air, that he had to be out of air, because all 3 of us had been up there the same amount of time.
You guys seen Tom?
And I heard another firefighter say, they've got him, he's out.
Hey, Tom, are you out here? Have you seen Captain Tom Nicholas? No, I haven't.
This is when I started worrying about Tom because we didn't find him.
8 minutes had passed since Tom had disappeared through the floor of the attic.
Go ahead and send EMS out here. We have a firefighter that's fallen.
It was almost the point of panic.
Come on, we gotta go.
I didn't really have time to think, is he dead, is he alive? I just knew he was still in there and we had to get him.
Hey, did you see Tom? No.
Firefighter David Casey joined in the search.
Come on, guy.
Captain Nicholas. He's a friend of mine. And I thought, this can't be. This is not happening. It felt like a nightmare. At this point, it was fully involved. Under normal situations, you would never go into a house that was this bad.
Tom! Talk to us, buddy! I know you're in here!
Do we have a status on our injury?
Not yet, we're still trying to locate him. Guys, I got a ring to my right. I'm gonna search it out.
It was a real confusing floor plan.
Tom! Tom!
I began feeling the walls.
Tom!
I made my way around the room, was bumping into some furniture.
Tom, where are you? Tom!
I had said a little prayer before I went in. I said, "Dear God, help us find him." As I put that helmet back on my head, that voice inside me said, "Turn around." And I was still on my knees. I turned around and saw a reflection of his stripe on the back of his bunker coat.
Tom! Tom! Tom!
When you see one of your own laying there and he's motionless, and you touch him and you speak to him and he doesn't respond to you, it kind of sends chills up your spine.
He's unconscious, guys. Let's get him out. There's no mask on him.
I've not seen anything like this before. This was a first. And when I saw Tom down, it was really emotional.
Come on, let's get him up. Come on.
I can't even describe the feelings.
Come on, Tom. Get him out of here. Come on, Tom. Hang in there.
I thought that with him being that still that he may be dead. And I couldn't really, in my mind, let that happen.
Breathe, Tom. Tom. Breathe.
I said, I don't think he's breathing.
Breathe, buddy. Breathe. Come on. I think he's breathing. Don't give up, Tom. What are you doing, buddy? Come on, Tom.
He kind of coughed up, gurgled a little bit. It just sounded terrible.
We need O2, man. We need it.
There was confusion everywhere. People were bringing water up, trying to cool his body temperature off.
Get you out of here, Tom. Come on, breathe.
I knew that all we could do was pray.
An EMSA ambulance arrived almost immediately, including paramedic Gayleen Rees-Owen.
We asked the firefighters to put the patient down so we could continue ALS care, but they were so emotionally charged, they just kept going towards our unit.
There it is.
He was dying and they knew it.
Just fell through and is gone. I don't know what happened.
If I can get you to take over bagging him right here.
There were burns on his body, mostly second-degree burns.
Hang in there, bud.
There was a lot of steam coming off of his chest, off of his face. Inburn patients, their airways will swell up rapidly. Thus, if we can't get a tube into their lungs to help them breathe, I was very afraid that this patient was not going to survive.
35-year-old Tom Nicholas was admitted to St. Francis Hospital under the care of emergency physician Michael Bartlett.
When I first saw him, my initial impression was that he was dead.
Does he have a pulse?
The paramedics were in a somewhat agitated state, realizing that they did not have an airway established.
Alan, give me a pressure.
To an emergency physician, this is the most frightful period of time that one experiences.
He fell about 12 feet. They said he was standing up on the rafters.
He was totally unconscious in a coma, and he was only breathing 6 times a minute.
Somebody get 1,000 of saline.
We used a stylet, a small wire that we introduced down into his trachea, and over that we placed the oral tracheal tube. And by that means, in a blind manner, we were able to establish an airway in this gentleman.
Tom, this medicine's gonna make you real relaxed. Just take it easy.
We knew by x-rays that his back, neck were not injured, but the big concern was what injury had his brain suffered from the lack of oxygen. Charlotte, I know he's going to look back.
Tom's wife, Charla, came to be with him as soon as she heard what had happened.
If you need anything, I'll be outside.
It wasn't reality at all. I thought he was invincible. I kept thinking, how am I going to tell my children? They love him so much. I could not imagine life without him. I thought, how can I go on? Everybody's here. I started thinking to myself, if he's going to have brain damage, I know that he's always told me he would just rather not even be here. We love you, we need you. And I just kept thinking, you've got to pull through. You've got to pull through.
Four months later, Tom continues to recover from a shoulder injury sustained in the fall and severely burned lungs.
I will never forget walking out of ICU the first morning and having about 50 firefighters standing at the end of the hall. Watch them cry when they saw Tom, tears streaming down their face. Tom had always told me what a bond there was between firefighters, and it's something that you cannot understand until you have experienced it.
Doing good.
I feel like a very lucky man. I was trapped inside the fire for 22 minutes, approximately 17 minutes without air. I should not be here. I remember crawling off to the furthest point away from the fire, to the coolest point I could find, and I began to pray. And I wasn't scared anymore. I remember crying as I began to think about my family. I was going to miss them. I would miss them running up and giving me hugs as I come home from work. I would miss holding Charla. I would miss watching my boys grow up, my little girl grow up. And my last thought as I laid there was not kissing Brittany goodbye the morning that I left for the fire station. The guys that saved me, I'll never forget it. They, 5 of them actually were hospitalized getting me out. They had smoke inhalation. They were burnt, and they risked their lives to pull me out. And it's a bonding that most people will never know.
All of us guys are close, but it's definitely brought us a lot closer together now. When you save someone's life together, save someone, it's an incredible feeling.
In February of 1994, Tom returned to work as a firefighter.
I think he has learned to maybe be a little bit more cautious. It might have slowed him down somewhat, but not a lot. Not enough. We know that it could have gone either way, that if God had been ready for him to go, he would have gone. When I see him kissing the kids and playing with them, interacting, I can't imagine him not being there. I just thank God every day that he's still with us and that my children still have him.
About 2 Saturdays ago, my 5-year-old was giving me the 3rd degree. Dad, why is the earth round? Dad, how come the sun's up in the daytime and not in the nighttime? And I just became overwhelmed with happiness that I was there to hear this. And I began to cry. And he says, Daddy, what are you crying for? He goes, are you sad? And I said, no. I said, these are tears of happiness. And he didn't understand that, but I do.